Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering the Traitors UK Season 2, Episodes 4 through to 6. Now, Chris, we left last week, Episode 3, on a bit of a cliffhanger. We weren't sure who was going to go. What do you reckon to how that all played out?
Well, Dave, the fucking Traitors are fucking ruthless. Paul, who we're saying we think he's going to go to the end. I think as the week's gone on, he's a devious fucker, Dave. Like, yeah. I was very impressed with his game plan. I know, like, he's become like the pantomime villain, and as the week's gone on, I don't think his game plan was as watertight as what I believed it was. But there's some good people, and I do want to talk later on about one of my favourite characters from this week. It was so good. But anyway, Jazz was excellent. But Paul, yeah, Ash got thrown completely under the bus there. She thought she was going to stay. Paul and that, they just turned on her, didn't they? And it's getting a bit fucking nasty nowadays. It's great. We're halfway point, and the Traitors are just proper.
Well, don't forget, so before Ash goes, though, she escaped, didn't she? Right at the start of episode 4, it was Harry Potter, wasn't it? Was it Brian? Brian who went?
Harry Potter, yeah. The guy who shot himself in the foot.
He absolutely snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Like, no one was probably thinking of him. And then he comes out with his verbal diarrhea. And it's like, what does everyone think of me? You know, and it's like, mate, even I'm watching. I know you're a faithful, but I'm kind of suspecting you now. So, yeah, I thought that was an amazing fucking own goal. And unfortunately, I got a bit sad because he said he feels like he got voted out for me being me or something like that. And I think he probably just is this massively anxious person or anxious in those conditions, you know, in stressful conditions. And so, yeah, unfortunately, mate, you just fucking absolutely fucked it. So, yeah, Ash got away with it. And then, Chris, honestly, I was rubbing my hands. I was like, right, let's see. Ash is going to fucking turn strips off them. And, you know, she was quite upset. You know, she was really angry and face like thunder. And I thought, oh, Paul, you're going to fucking get it when she gets up there. You know what? Fucking old Mr. Silver Tongue there just talks himself out of it. And I'm like, oh, this is impressive. This is like, and by the end of it, I thought Paul's explanation was better. Harry just said something like, I mean, I voted for you because I knew you wouldn't go. And so I thought, you know, if I voted for Brian, you know, and he's a faithful, it'd bring attention to me. And I thought, Harry's bullshit. I thought because though Paul had broken the ground and he'd thawed the ice kind of thing first, I think Harry's weaker explanation, she wasn't bothered by that. So then she gets straight back on board with the Traitors. And she's like, right, we're all friends again now. Nope. Straight under the bus you go. Harry was straight in there. He didn't even have to. You know, I thought, well, you know, let other people speak. And you know, you're going to say, oh, well, sorry, you know, because it is clearly the room's going that way. I'm going to have to vote for you, Ash. You know, nope, Harry's straight in there. He was the first one calling out Ash, and then Paul fucking jumps in again, and I'm like, right, you are fucked now. Yeah. So, like you say, just absolutely ruthless, and yeah, that was interesting. And I don't know if it's because, like, you know, maybe Paul, they were in the dungeon, weren't they? That was new.
Yeah, that was new. Yeah.
So maybe, you know, maybe he had a little bit less energy or whatever, but yeah, poor Ash there.
I loved it. And you're right, because it was like when you watch like the action movies and then you've got like the baddies and then like the main ringleader sort of puts his arm around one of his fucking, you know, one of his sort of teammate, minion henchmen or whatever and goes, look, this is for the greater good. And honestly, if I was Ash, I'd have gone at him. I'd have gone, fuck that, I'm going to drop you in it. And I was hoping that Ash sort of said something, you know, like threw something out there. Yeah, we've seen it in the last series, didn't we? Where there was like a comment at the end of someone left, and you were like, "Oh!"
It was the guy, wasn't it? He threw the guy who almost won under the bus, didn't he, with that final leaving comment? So I was expecting it because I was thinking, because it cuts away to her, speaking to the camera and stuff. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to have to play the game hard now. And she started going for someone else. I'm like, fuck that. Can't you see what's happening? Fucking go after the other traitors. Go down, fucking swinging, windmilling, Chris.
100%. And Dave, you would have done the same. I would have done the same. It was quite a naive move. I think she felt that they were doing some sort of master plan game, gaming tactic that we've not seen that's going to save it. And it didn't. And I don't know what her rationale was behind that, but unfortunately she got, at the end she did get binned off. But Paul and Harry, Harry's he's in the army, isn't he, as well? He's quite kind of a lad, so he's obviously with the engineer, so he's obviously he's methodical in his thinking and that. But I do think Paul and his act of just weighing everything up, but it starts unraveling that episode because people were like, there's no emotion. Why is he not bothered? Why is he not? Yeah. That's where you were getting these VTs. And I said to you in the last episode when he went at Jazz from nowhere, like, yeah, and you, Jazz. And I was like, and that was, for me, that was Paul's mistake. By the end of episode 6, that was his mistake. But anyway, we get the game, don't we? They save Andrew, don't they, as well? The red team win.
Yeah.
Faithful. And that's when we do get the round table and Ash gets banished. But you're right. And we said it before. Dave, it was dying out for her to just throw a crumb in there and say something. And I don't know whether they're allowed to or, just people who are getting booted off, they just seem to accept it and walk off, don't they? And I'm like, do something. Please do something where you're bitter and you realise, because I would be, you're pissed off because you've lost out. You've lost out on 120 grand. It's not like you're winning it's not, what?
A Monopoly.
Yeah, it's not bullseye. You're winning a fucking caravan or, you know what I mean? Like a £200 clothing voucher. It's £120,000 potentially between you, or you could win it on your own if you're a traitor. So, yeah, I just felt Ash went out and didn't deliver what I was hoping. But again, what an episode, Dave. The first episode of the week again. I love this show. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it is so good, isn't it? But I mean, Paul, I felt like he was showing himself to be a bit overconfident in this fourth episode. That, he was sure that if it's a good plan, so we'll take the heat off Ash, and I'll go down into the dungeon as well, and we'll bring Meg and Andrew in, and then everyone will pick me, and then we'll kill off one of the others. So take the heat off Ash or whatever. I think probably he was thinking that Ash would still get banished, but yeah, the fact that they voted to save Andrew, and there were some murmurings. And I thought, because I don't know if you remember from season 1, they put 3 people on trial. That was when fucking magician pink top bloke was like, no, she's not a traitor, she's my girlfriend. You knob. So that was when that came out. But everyone was saying at that time, well, the traitors could pick themselves. So suddenly, the people who were picked were underneath the spotlight then. And so when the traitors were talking about, who should go into the dungeon and we'll put 2 traitors in the dungeon, I thought, I don't know if that is the greatest move. And sure enough, that's who most people were talking about, like who was in the dungeon. And there must be at least 1 traitor in the dungeon. So I think they miscalculated there. But Paul got away with it. And I tell you what, he's kind of got everyone on side, I feel, apart from Jazz. I'm loving the Columbo style Jazz, because I think he's playing a decent game there, because he doesn't trust Paul, and later with Harry, because he'd confided in Harry because he thought he was going to get killed off. And then, he's like, why would Harry say, Paul said to Jazz about, something that he'd said to Harry in confidence. And you can see he's like, why would they discuss that? And I'm like, come on, just get there. Now he hasn't, but when it came to the banishing, like the second banishing in episode 5, I thought, well, he's clearly going to go for Paul. Whereas he didn't, did he? You know, he ended up going for what's the guy? The guy who looks like Goose. Was it Johnny, the ex-military guy?
He put he was a faithful, didn't he? By the end, it was Johnny, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm sure it was. Is that the lad who lost his leg in battle?
Yes. I'm just looking at notes there. Yeah. So it is Johnny. But do you not think he's like trying to look like Goose from Top Gun with the tash and the Maverick glasses?
great balls of fire. Yeah. But I do think as well that you said about Jazz, and you've touched on something which I saw last night on social media, was fucking brilliant. Everyone, I mean, that fucking Dan Walker, you know, the presenter who's been chasing every celebrity, going, would you like to come on my podcast? You know, like he's like trolling all these celebrities now. It's become like a parody. I don't know if you've seen it, but he had like a picture. He went, I want Jazz in his own TV show as the Columbo-style detective, because I tell you what, Dave.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And I've seen loads of people saying, like, for me, by the end of episode 6, Jazz is my winner. I think he's a great guy. The backstory about why he didn't believe Paul. So he started like saying to people, didn't he, what he thought. And he was absolutely on the money about Harry and Paul. But then did you hear that story he said about his dad? Like having a completely different... Oh, fuck me. What a show to come on and reveal that. His dad's got a whole family with grandkids, kids, everything. And you're like, holy shit. So I'm thinking Jazz is the man. He's going to decipher who is a traitor. So I was all for it. But yeah, online, everyone was just saying, like, what a great contestant. He'd come from nowhere. And it was as soon as Paul threw that little thingy out and that little crumb of it's you, you know, I think you are, to deflect it, that sort of lit a fire under Jazz as if to say, fuck you, I'm getting you out. So I think I'm hoping he doesn't get banished, because he's a great character. And as it's gone on, Dave, when Paul was crying, anyway, there were real tears, but I was using them to my advantage. I'm like, you absolute fucking legend. And also, you wanker. He just needed to twiddle his fucking moustache. I just thought, as much as I'm not really warming to Paul, and he's probably a lovely bloke off the show, I was also like, we need you in here because your downfall is so important.
No, he's just a really good player, isn't he? And like I say, the way he's deflected people, it's the same thing again, though, isn't it, Chris? As soon as, you know, a little bit of momentum builds up behind, you know, one person's accusation, that's it. They all, it just turns into the Salem witch trials. They all stop to think critically. And they're just like, well, it's fucking him. So Johnny, you know, again, as soon as people say, he's so different now, and this, that, and the other, and you know, you're laughing and joking outside, but you know, at the table, you're really quiet. And I'm thinking, that's hardly fair, is it? Because, like, say if you're in the challenges and stuff, for me, you're not thinking about who's a traitor. You're just in the moment, in the challenge, and it's a bit of fun, isn't it? But when you're sat there trying to take it all in, like who's saying what, and you're guessing and second guessing and triple guessing what someone might do, you know, I imagine I'd be pretty quiet because you're just trying to process it all. But no, this became a thing that everyone latched onto. And then, as soon as that momentum builds, it wasn't even close, was it? It was like, Johnny, you're off. And you could tell that I was surprised that Harry did vote for Johnny. But, you know, it's clear he kind of had to. But earlier in the day, in the challenge and that, he was talking about this brotherhood that you have in the military. And he was trying to protect Johnny, even though he didn't have to. And he knows he's a faithful. So, you know, he was trying to steer the conversation away from Johnny. I found that really interesting. And then he was quite upset, Harry, wasn't he, when Johnny went?
Yeah, he was. And you're right, but I suppose in the context of the game, because of that background, everyone else will know that. So maybe Harry's head is thinking, but it'll look too obvious if I keep saving Johnny if I've got the chance to, you know, because when in episode 6, when the three of the traitors went off, like Miles and all that, and they were talking, and they had the doors open, and I'm like, come on. Looks too obvious, and then someone come in going, oh, where's Thingy? Where's Paul and that? You know, and they disappeared, surely. And I kept thinking, is that a bit of a set-up scene, that? Because you had the blonde girl walked past him, didn't she? And they're in the library. Then someone else. Then they were sat outside originally, and he come out. Then is it Ross? Not Ross, the lad with the skinhead. And he come out, and
Zach.
He's looking, Zach, and he's looking, and he comes back in, and not one person. They're all sat there like, leaning on each shoulders, just chilling out. I don't know whether they thought they weren't being filmed or something, but then it was like, hello, fucking McFly. These three people have just randomly gone off. It's the first time we've seen them not with you or in a situation where you can't find him, because he just come in, did Zach going, this place is so big, I can't find him. And I'm like, surely someone's fucking like, even Jazz should have gone, hang on a fucking minute here. I don't know, I might be wrong, Dave, because maybe there's loads of times where people are being taken off for interviews, and that maybe they think they're in or something. Maybe that's how that plays out. As I'm saying it out loud, that would probably make sense. But for me watching it, I'm like, they're fucking there. I mean, it's just gone really high then, Dave. They're there in the library. Someone fucking stand at the door and listen in. But maybe that would also ruin the show, because we're only halfway through. But honestly, again, mate, fantastic TV for me. I absolutely am transfixed when I'm watching it.
Yeah, I felt the same though. The way it was kind of filmed and stuff, it seems so obvious. And I guess they were trying to show us that, the traitors were having to do this challenge. They were having to find the poison chalice, weren't they? And it just seemed so obvious. So let's go outside, shall we? All three of them fucking gathered around having a mother's meeting. And even Zach, like you say, comes out, he has a look, but he doesn't spot him. But when they're in the library, I'm thinking, how does someone not even clock that? Like, even if they don't see that you're in the library there, just think, where are the other three? But like you say, maybe this happens a lot. And maybe they're all together less than we kind of see. But I mean, it's not clear who is it going to be. But Chris, one thing I wanted to ask you about actually is when they go to the very artistic shots, aren't they? When they're talking about who's going to get killed. Is it going to be this person? Is it going to be that person? You got Andrew showing off his guns, usually doing some kind of weights or something like that. Charlotte appears in the bath, Chris. I mean, I thought it was a very artistic shot. I just wondered what you thought of that.
I don't think I saw that, Dave, to be honest. Didn't see it. I don't know what you're talking about. Can we move on? Can we move on, Dave? Tosser, absolute tosser.
I thought it was like I say, Chris, very, very artistic. Did appreciate it for its artistry. So anyway, who do you think he's given the chalice to? It was Miles, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was Diane. He passed it to. It looked like it on the preview, like he passed. I'm not saying that she drank it. Maybe. I don't know.
That was the thing. You're absolutely right. I just had a senior moment there, although I don't think you're supposed to say that anymore. So he handed it to Diane, but you didn't see Diane take a drink. No. It's like, is she actually going to be the one? I'm not sure.
Well, also, Dave, I don't think she will, because we get a preview and Ross is walking off, and I think it's Miles next to me, and he says something like, "I'm really struggling, Mum," and I'm like, "Hang on a minute, someone's got to pick up on that, or something like that." So I'm thinking, is that the slip that brings them down? You know what I mean? Is anybody going to pick up on that, or is it just some sort of things like, "Oh yeah, she's the house mum" sort of thing? One of them. They were off, weren't they? They thought it was it Zach who they thought was a kid, or
it was Paul, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry. But so I don't know. But Dave, I can't wait. And the fucking thing is, though, it's Wednesday. Wednesday. He's killing me.
Yeah, I'd almost sooner they did like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing, and just spread it out a little bit. But yeah, it does seem ages off Wednesday now, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I'm going to say something now that I can literally feel I'm going to have to get my gum shield out of retirement day. And you are literally going to
talk about a certain island.
We start tomorrow. Something's on tomorrow, Dave. Some sort of.
You'll be fucking vanished.
Yeah, I'll be getting banished from the podcast and you'll be with someone else. Hi, everybody. This is Chris can't do the podcast anymore. I'll become like a splinter podcast, Dave, just off it. But anyway, let's not talk about that. But anything else, Dave? Because I have
no. So remind me again, because is it Love Island Games or something? I did see it, but I can't remember exactly which variation it is.
Love Island All Stars, Dave. And when they say All Stars, I know the bar is quite low in Love Island. I mean, the only bit of controversy we might potentially have is Jake and Liberty are the first contestants in. They're not bombshells. They're going straight in. And having known what happened in that relationship, and Liberty was on the games as well once we watched that, but Jake wasn't. Now, Jake, how he's got back on, I don't know. You've got Jake on. There's a few contestants, but I wouldn't say they're all stars. However, you've also then got the bombshell potential that you may have a few of them. But from what I've seen on the lineup, it just seemed, and you've got the girl from the first series who John proposed to. I apologise, the blonde girl, she's from Liverpool. She's on it as well, Dave. She's one of the OGs from the first series of Love Island. So it's going to be interesting. Let's say that. There's a few of them where me and you are going to be like, well, I'm saying that, Dave. I'm just throwing it out there. But yeah, the Jake and Liberty thing, I'm really interested in when I watch it tomorrow, because I will be watching it, whatever happens.
Well, we were going to cover Traitors, and then Maths Australia starts, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know.
So are you suggesting to run concurrent seasons again, which we said multiple times we weren't ever going to do again?
No.
End up dead.
No. We can't do that. We end up dead and wanting to kill each other. So no, let's not do that, Dave. I'm going to watch it anyway. So I don't mind if it's one of these ones where I just jump on and do a 20-minute special. If you've watched any of it, we can. If you can't, don't worry. But Maths was the one we both wanted to do on it. So
yeah.
So. And Love Island, it could be, if it's 2 months, it's fucking ridiculous, isn't it? It's a massive commitment. I know that's what we do, but it's everything. I will be watching Love Island, whatever happens, Dave. So that'll be in my back pocket. So I could potentially do what I've done in the past and just jump on and do something. If people want to listen to me, if we can't make it together,
I'm sure they. I think that sounds like a great idea.
I just thought myself into it, and what the fuck are you talking about? What
2 months.
Fuck myself.
6
I can't
days
even tell
a week.
you off, Dave. I can tell myself off for even saying that. Anyway, anything else, Dave, before we go?
No, I think, as you said before, absolutely loving the whole season. I actually started to warm a bit more to Diane. I thought she came across quite abrasive at the start, but I mean, in the challenges especially, she was legging it around like a gazelle, wasn't she? Very fit and stuff. Obviously does some kind of either running or she definitely does something. They got the what was the crystal gazer type
thing,
woman, the older lady who went out, and I love that she went out with that delusion. She's like, I think they've murdered me because I can see people's auras, and I'm like, you have got no one fucking right. Not even close. Like, you literally not caught a single traitor. I mean, Ash has obviously gone out, but like half the fucking room thought it was her. I can't remember which way she voted, but yeah, I thought that did make me laugh. But yeah, I just can't wait till next episode now, and that's the only problem. I kind of want the whole season to just drop so I can binge the fuck out of it, but because it gets to the end of the episode and I'm just chomping at the bit to get to the next one.
Me too. And they haven't even released the episode when Wednesday's dropped. They didn't even drop the other 2, 5 and 6 like they did before. So I was like,
yeah.
Anyway, good stuff, mate. Good stuff. So if you want to email us, guys, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media @cdrealitycast. As always, get over to Facebook, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are at 661 followers and friends on Facebook. So let's try and get ourselves to 700 this year. So that'll be an amazing target for us. So please spread the word, or if you're listening in, come and join us on Facebook. As always, get over to patreon.com/CD Realitycast if you want to support us a little bit more. So the roll call of honor is Ken Gustafson, Lucky Lula Green, Lauren Hennessy, Susan Dee, Katie, Libby, Joanna, Noreen, Chloe, Helen, Keith, Gillian, Zoe, Maggie, Megan, Cassie, Fiona, Emma, Nicola, Helen, Larissa, Amanda, Kim, Danielle, Nick, Andrea, Sims, Katja, and 2 new patrons. And thank you for joining up. They've sent us a coffee each day. These are Jesse and Sinead. So thank you so much, guys, for all your support. We really appreciate it. And let's see what next week brings.
Awesome. Fantastic, Chris. It's been great to talk about this. Honestly, it's kind of as soon as I've watched the episodes, I'm like, oh, I need to speak to Chris. And I just can't wait. Like I say, I love the whole dynamic, and it was interesting. I think someone mentioned earlier this last week that they thought the round tables were going to be the most boring part, and they're absolutely not. These are my favourite bits, and especially when people start going at each other and all the emotions come out. I think that was the thing that you said initially that got me hooked in last year for season 1, that everyone gets really, really into it. It's not just like playing about with a little game. So yeah, can't wait for the next episode, Chris. So thank you very much, sir. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.